I'll probably, well, I'm not probably, I'll surely do this race on the 20th of May. So yeah, I did some last homework before I decided 100% to go for this event, and yeah, well, I'm I'm convinced there's still some homework to do, but I think I can manage it, and I have a chance. So yeah, I'm eager to enter this race and to see how far I can get. Yeah, I've been on this island for about 15 years now. I think the first 2 years that I came here, I joined Luke van Lierde as a sparring partner, kind of, and I always left the island worse than I came. He pretty much killed me every single training camp, and after the first 2 years I said no, I'm never gonna go back to that island. There's just something that doesn't work for me over there. And then I stayed. I think I stayed away for 7 or 8 years. But after that, the last 6, 7 years, I kept coming back every year. Some years 2 or 3 times in the winter time. And yeah, it's not that I conquered the island, but I learned to live with the island. So there's no point to fight the wind. There's no point to fight the climbs. I mean, there's nothing much you can do against it. Just suck it up and live with it. And that's what I did the last few years. Although, I mean, I got the question a lot. Why do you never do Lanzarote? It might be a race that suits you, and I always said, no, that race is too hard. There's too much climbing, and I can ride a bike, but I can't climb properly. There's too much wind. Sometimes the heat comes into play too, and I was convinced if you do that race, you basically ruin the rest of the season because it's just so hard. But that was a time when I was still aiming at Kona. Kona is out of the story now for me, and yeah, that puts everything in a different perspective, you know. And I've been a guy that is willing to take some risks. I mean, the way I race, I put everything out there, and yeah, well, I thought, well, why not take that way of thinking into your race choice? And well, since I somehow made a bad race in New Zealand, I had some energy left and a big time gap left now that I could have just easily trained until the next event. But I thought, yeah, well, this might be the moment to give that Lanzarote story a shot, and here I am. I'm still convinced that it's too much climbing, too windy, and just all in all a too hard and too slow race for my kind of weaponry, I would call it. But yeah, I'm really eager to finally find out if it really is too hard or if I can do something on this race. I mean, it's a classic, you know. At the beginning of the year, well, at the end of last year, basically, we thought about, okay, what's next? I mean, Kona is out of the story, so that brings a lot more, I would call it, yeah, a lot more choice of racing. I mean, there's a way you can do a third Ironman then, and yeah, first the idea was to go for a win on every continent. And already then I had Lanzarote in my mind, but since we went for the option of the continents, yeah, then I just kind of gave up on the Lanzarote story. And I mean, I'm 40. I don't think if I would have not raced it this year that I would have done it next year. So with New Zealand blowing up, this was really like pretty much the last chance to give a decent shot at this race. And maybe it's a mental thing, but yeah, I'll have to be convinced that I'm capable to be competitive on a race before I enter. And like I said, I did some homework this week, and yeah, I think there's a chance. Not as big as, for sure, not as big as the other events that I enter, but might as well give it a shot. Yeah.